that again. I had you muted.
Hi, how are you?
10:34.
Yes.
I call this meeting to order. Was this meeting properly noticed?
Yes, it was.
May we have a roll call of members present?
Kaminsky here.
Bob Kraus,
Caldwell here.
We have a quorum.
we have a quorum. Would you now join me in doing the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Starting.
If we have any cell phones on, could we turn them off? Just to make sure there's no interference. I need a motion to approve the agenda as written.
So move.
Second,
Second.
motion's been made and second to approve the agenda as written. All in favor?
Aye.
We need approval for the minutes for the last meeting.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Motion been made and second. Any comments on the minutes? All in favor?
I'm in
favor.
Aye.
We will now move on to the public hearings.
The first application is for Merrick and Anita Biernet, special exception request under section 405-12C of the Adams County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance to build an accessory building without a primary residence on property located in the northwest quarter, southeast quarter, section 18, town 19 north, range 5 east, lot 8, CSM 5532, located in the town of Monroe. The applicant I did see is on. You should have a copy of the site plan where they're planning on, or where they want to put up the garage, and then actually the location of the future house. Appears to be a 30 by 40 garage. And I didn't receive any correspondence, and I didn't receive anything from the town. Did you go to the town and get their approval or recommendation for approval?
Hello? Okay. Yes, we,
Hold on a second.
right?
Try that again.
Do you hear me right now?
You got it muted.
Oh, maybe, let me check.
Sorry, one more time. I don't have any volume.
Hello?
Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay.
So did you go to the town of Monroe?
I did call them regarding the future house. This is gonna be a metal garage, 30 by 40, but they told me they're not gonna accept it because there is according to zoning department, you have to build house first before you wanna, garage. So we got rejected. So that's why I feel that special application for public hearing to explain why we want it.
Right, and then go to the town to
Yes.
the meeting?
Yeah, we absolutely got it no from them. So they rejected because of the zoning department says you can't build a garage before the house. This is for us very inconvenient because what we are planning to store our material of the house and the garden materials. And also we are planning to do our fence, and we have like a lot of materials, like galvanizing poles and chain link fence. And we don't have place to store that. And I understand.
The chairman has a question.
I was going to ask you to lower the sound.
Okay, sorry. I appreciate the explanation, but I still have to figure out the town part. So before you applied through our office, you talked to the town and they said no.
Yes.
So you filled out this application.
Yes.
Okay.
She said to not waste my time because she said I can't even apply because that's the rules. But I can do exception, apply with the public hearing and try to talk to you guys. So that's
Right.
the only.
And the first step, so in the directions for the special exception, once you apply to us, your next step is to go to the town board meeting and they have to fill out that form.
Okay.
They have to make a recommendation one way or the other, whether to approve it or not.
Okay.
So did you go to their town board meeting and have them fill out that form?
No, I didn't know about that. They didn't tell me that. She sent me a special application right away by internet to apply to you guys. So she didn't even mention about that.
This is
Right,
until,
on the front page of that application, it said you have to go to the town board to get their recommendation.
Oh, okay. So right now it's too late. What I should do, fill out the application and go send it to email, via email, or go by myself. I don't really.
Well, you filled out the application for the special exception through the county.
Yes.
Part of that process is to get their the town's recommendation.
That they have to fill
Right.
out. They have to fill that out.
You need to go to the town board and have them fill out that sheet.
So that will be that Monroe town.
Correct. Right,
Okay.
you have to call them and ask to be put on their agenda. My recommendation to the board would be to table it until she goes to the town.
Yes. Okay. We make a motion.
I'll
to
motion to
this
table.
Until the town board's approval comes through. Yes, that's the protocol.
Okay, so I missed that protocol. So I missed the first step, right? I should do it first, that application to, and then they connect to you, right?
Do you still have the packet that they sent you for the application?
Yes.
Okay, the first page gives you a very detailed step-by-step what you have to do. So follow that, but your next step is to call the town board, and we won't put you on the agenda until we get that information.
Okay. Okay.
But we still,
That has to come from the town board to us.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what the town board's got to understand. I think that's where she's having a problem.
Yeah,
No, Okay,
she,
so I have a motion by Benkowski. Was there a second?
I know Robert did.
Did you? The second for the motion to table?
He seconded, yes.
Okay, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Table till the next meeting or town board approval.
All right. So contact the town of Monroe and ask to be put on their agenda.
okay.
Tell them you applied through our office, but you need their recommendation.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next.
All right. The next application is for Kevin and Beth Kaminsky. This is a variance request under section 396-60A, paragraphs 3, 4, and 6 of the Adams County Shoreline Wetland and Habitat Protection Ordinance to allow reduced setbacks to the town, to the side lot line and to a town road on property located in the southeast quarter, section 16, town 20 north, range 6 east, Lancer addition to Lake Sherwood. The address is 374 Lancer Court, town of Rome. You should have a drawing of the proposed layout. And Mr. Kaminsky, are you, or Mr. or Mrs. Kaminsky, are you on the call? Okay. I talked to Mr. Kaminsky, or one of them, last week, and they had not gone to the town yet. There was some discussion about moving the shed so they wouldn't necessarily need a variance from the property line. They were gonna end up going closer, reducing the size of the shed and going closer to the septic system, but they do need to get a variance through the state for going closer to the property line, or excuse me, going closer to the septic system. So at this point, I would also recommend tabling this one until,
Let me ask you a question, Dustin. This has not gone through the township either.
it has, but they've been in contact with the zoning administrator there. But they have not gone through the town board process because they were trying to modify the plan so they wouldn't have to.
Okay. We need a motion to table this till the next
I
meeting.
so
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who made that motion?
This will be seconded.
moved. I did.
Approval comes through.
Trying to do 14 things at once here. All right, table, no. All right, the final application for the day. And they are online, and there shouldn't be any reason to table this one. Pete and Wall Cabin LLC. There's two requests. One's a special exception request under section 396-30A1 of the Adams County Shoreline Wetland and Habitat Protection Ordinance to allow filling and grading, and a variance request under sections 405, 34E, paragraph 3 of the Adams County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance, and 396-60A, paragraphs 3 and 7 of the Adams County Shoreline Wetland and Habitat Protection Ordinance for reduced setbacks to the ordinary high water mark and to a town road on property located in the southeast quarter, southwest quarter, section 5, town north 19 north, range 5 east, and that is in the town of Monroe. I don't have the address down, but there was an address, I thought. 773 18th Lane. So you should have some good drawings or very detailed drawings. There were some simplified ones that were submitted to me this morning. I did not get them in time to print them off and give them to you.
Can we pass one around? Do you have it?
No,
Okay.
I can put it, actually, I can put it up on the screen though.
Okay.
And then let me share my screen so everybody can see what we're looking at. Maybe. Where was I here now? I'll try to. Oops, I didn't do it on YouTube. Like that. No, wrong way. There we go now. How do I rotate this? Okay, I'm not going to. All right, so there's the house. The road is on the right. And this is actually how it lays on the property also, north is up. So the request is 56¼ feet to the ordinary high water mark of Petenwald. And on the roadside, it would be 10 foot from the property line, or 10.25
Dustin?
feet. Yes,
Can you hear me? This is Larry.
yes.
That is the plan that you have up there is what's there now, Dustin. The next sheet is what's being proposed.
Wasn't that the same?
No, there were 3 sheets that I sent to you. This is what's there right now. There you go.
Okay. Oh, my apologies. So we're looking at 45 feet to the ordinary high water mark. And is that 24 feet to the edge of the pavement or to the center of the road?
That is to the edge of the pavement, Dustin. And we are showing as on this plan a 0-foot setback from the right of way itself. But when we went to the town of Monroe, they asked us to chop off a triangular piece or a rectangular piece off of the southeast corner of the patio so that it would be a 2-foot setback. And Petenwell Cabin LLC is in agreement that they would do that.
All right, so we will need to, at some point, if you guys so choose, we'll need to amend the application to show that. All right. So the variance part is because we're too close to the road and too close to the water. The shading on here in this area is where they'll be doing excavating for a walkout basement. The slopes are a little bit on the steeper side. What were the exact numbers on the slope? Did you get those?
It is probably about 1.5 to 1, very steep.
And you may want to, so there is some correspondence that we have done, email. I think you have a copy of all that. Basically giving Larry here authority to discuss this or to represent them today. And then
Andy Schilt is also in the meeting. He's representing Petenwell Cabin LLC.
okay.
Yep. Thank you, Larry.
And when you went to the town, were there any other requests that they made?
Nope, they weren't. The only thing that concerned them was they didn't want to set a precedent with a 0-foot setback from the right of way. The Rude home to the south of this is at 1 foot. So they wanted it at least 1 foot. I said, we can probably make it 2.
Okay.
Otherwise, the setback from the water, they said the town isn't concerned about that. That is a county and DNR issue.
Okay.
I did have
Oh,
I
go
did
ahead.
have a phone call from John Rude, the neighbor to the south last week. And his only concern was he wanted to make sure that there was no construction equipment on his property because his drain field for his septic system is in close proximity to his north property line. And so I told him that wouldn't be a problem. We'll either put up some type of construction fencing or a tape line to mark those property lines off, because there's no reason the contractors need to be on neighbor's property.
Okay, and you may want to discuss with the board. I believe that's, well, not I believe, that's a dead end road about 2 properties past this one.
That's correct. It is a quiet, nice dead end road. Just to let everybody know, thanks for letting us consider this new cabin for us. But it's a family cabin. We've owned it since 1969, I guess, and it just no longer suits our needs, and we would like to do whatever we can to get it up into a more usable cabin for us. My wife has arthritis. We have some elderly parents, but so yeah, I know Larry's done a really good job with Adams zoning and also the town. So thanks for your consideration.
And then on the drawing that I do have on the screen, there's a dash triangle line or dash triangle right in the middle here. If you applied the setbacks as the ordinance requires, they would have to build in that triangle. That's where the setbacks take you to.
I have some questions.
Go ahead.
You brought up that your neighbors had set some kind of a precedent.
No, the town said they didn't want it. The town didn't want to set a precedence by allowing it to go to 0.
I'm just saying, he brought up the word precedent. Maybe the town brought that up.
The town said that.
Okay, well, I don't see from the drawings, I'm not quibbling about the road and the township's responsibilities there. I have some, you brought up the word precedent, about the ordinary high water mark toward the lake.
Zoning decisions do not set a precedence.
That's true. That's my point. And my point is, he's trying to bring a precedent about, I'm saying that nobody has houses that are that small of a setback from the lake that I can see.
Maybe not right there, but the reason he brought up the word precedence was because when the town heard it, they didn't want to start giving approvals for 0-foot setback to the road. So they said, no, just cut off that corner so you're 2 feet at least. Because the neighbor to the north is 1 foot, so they made him go further. They never discussed precedence with the shoreline side or the shore side.
How about we discuss an example on Cottonwood, over on Cottonwood? There's a little lake there, and somebody built a nice house there. And they apparently followed strict accordance with the 75-foot setback from the high water mark there. And they've done a fine job with their home. It's a large home. It's beautifully done. All the water from the garage, the driveway, the walkway go toward the road. And in this case, it looks like a funnel to me, with the walkways and the ramps and everything. It's all funneled into the lake. And we're disobeying the setback rules.
May I say something? They don't show elevations as to the finished levels of the floors and that compared to what the roads are or the lake are. Okay.
Yep, there are, it's in the detailed plans, not on these simplified.
The one you were sent does have those. But it's tiny.
Okay. My only problem with this thing, Dustin, this thing is so small. I used a magnifying glass on it and I could hardly make it out.
And that's why the town requested their simplified one, but the simplified one doesn't have the elevations on it. And I think what I would say is Larry can probably describe the elevation change that's going to take place. Like how much is being cut out?
Yeah, the area that's being cut out, well, it starts out the full width of the house on the water side, and then it narrows up as you approach the 35-foot shoreline buffer strip. And then we are proposing to excavate about 10 feet into the shoreline buffer area to get the slope so we have some positive drainage away from the walkout doors in the basement to where the stairway going down to the water would start.
And what kind of methods are you using to hold back the sides of what you excavate out?
Mr. Chairman, Robert, I would propose we have a site inspection.
It's two things that I would be concerned about: elevation, site inspection, 3 things actually. And the fact that the town gave this information, but we don't have it.
Right.
And we're approving something on hearsay. And it does mention in here what material we're using.
Oh, it didn't.
Somewhere I read it in the notes.
There's quite a bit of correspondence.
Yeah.
Went through that.
Using terra-like vegetated retaining walls to avoid impervious surface issues. It's on the page, what is it? 5/8, 5/8.
Larry, did you ever send me the information or any information from the town? There it is.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have it here.
No, I have, the packet has the blank one, but I do have the,
Okay.
doesn't object, angle porch to give 33-foot road setback, and the board did sign it. It was on September 28th, so it was last week.
Okay.
So as far as the town park goes, we do have that paperwork.
Okay.
If we table this for another hearing, then with the information and what's been proposed to table it and get more information. Now, I'm still concerned about the setback, the 75-foot setback. And I would like to have that addressed
Is there
in our next meeting.
other homes who are within that 45-foot setback?
Yeah, I gotta find that. 773. This is as large as my screen's gonna get. So this property is the one in question, and you can see the existing house on there. The new house, I believe it was 9 feet closer. The house to the south is lined up. You can kind of see they're all right in line there.
Is it a line of sight thing?
Currently, I would say it's pretty close to that. Yep.
Okay.
The one towards the north here, you can see the road does angle off a little bit. So that's why they were able to get a little further away. And if we just go down a little bit here, you start getting into all these houses that are all tucked closer to the road. And those are all approximately, or like this one is 50-ish feet.
That's precedent. That's a word I'm not supposed to use.
No, a precedent means just because you say they can be at 50, you have to approve the next one at 50. That is not the case. The situation here, and that's what I was showing with that one drawing. No, I'm not going to be able to find that. Right. If the board does not grant a variance and they want to build a house, the only house they can build is in that triangle. So their house could be about 4 feet wide.
I'm with Robert. The setback to the road is, it's the setback from the water line that is concerned.
That's my concern. That's all, it's all of our water.
Mm-hmm.
Does that impact the size of the house, Dustin, by setting back to the 75-foot high water mark?
They wouldn't be able to build. I mean, because this line right here, well, that's not even, this line here is 62 feet from the water. So 75 is actually 13 feet further back. They put it through somewhere right in there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, but it's my impression that the property was purchased after these rules and ordinances were in effect. Is that correct or not?
Yes.
Then it's a self-imposed hardship.
And that's a decision the board has to make. I mean, each member, that's part of your decision on how you vote. Is if you feel it is, that's how you vote. I mean, the other thing I did show, there is an existing cabin on the property. That's what this is.
Is the town of Rome, yeah, town of Monroe, any objection?
No, I received, that's why I showed, they have no objection. The only request they had was instead of 0 foot to the property line, go 2 feet.
Yeah.
What about the DNR with the
They
setback?
don't police the lake.
We had,
Well,
oh, can I add one little a bit of information? We had a really good conversation with Tony at the township, and they actually went out to the site after we had made the first proposal to take a look at it. And so, which was very nice of them to do. And I, again, like we've heard, the only thing they really had to consider or wanted us to make a change to was that front porch. But I understand, you know, we are, you know, asking for that variance for that setback, and it's not a big cabin. The footprint basically is the same size as the current cabin, but we had to move that, I guess, because of the setbacks for the well and the holding tank and such. So what ended up happening after all the everybody got in there with trying to move and replace this cabin on this lot, without having to use that little bitty triangle there, was what you see now. And then we really did want to work with everybody as much as possible to get this rebuilt and into a usable cottage for us.
and I figured out why I was trying to figure out why there was 62-foot setback line. That's the average of the properties on either side. So if they would have came, let's say the road wasn't an issue, I could issue a permit for 62 feet to the water because that's where the neighbors average to. And that's where this triangle comes from. That's correct, right, Larry?
Larry must have dropped off, it sounds like.
But that was your impression of that, right?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
We tabled this until we get the information. Current.
Is that your motion?
What's the current
And I'm not
information?
finished yet. Continue motion until we get more information, more specifics. Also, when we hear it again, I'd like to know your bottom line as to what your setback is being proposed as, you know, maybe reevaluate what he's asking for in the way of a setback. It's closer to what Dustin can approve. And that we would hear on that.
What's the specific information so he knows what to come back with?
The bottom line on what he's requesting for a setback.
Right now is the time to discuss it with him.
Can we get something in writing from the Monroe about, they're saying 2 feet is okay?
I have it.
You've got that?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's in my email and it just says, right? I'll show it to you.
And that's the road thing. It's got nothing to do with the water.
No, that's town road setback.
Yeah, yeah.
So there it says, Tom Monroe does not object. Angle porch to give 33-foot road setback. And that was signed by the board on September 28th. But Mr. Caldwell, now's the time to discuss with him about modifying the plans.
Well, either that or call for a vote on the motion.
You made a motion, there's not been a second.
Would you read the motion back?
To table the application until more specific details on what the furthest you can get from the water is.
I'd still like to take a site inspection on this thing.
And I really strongly oppose site inspections, but I will take a video of it and bring it to the next meeting if that's. And the reason is because it's a public meeting. You guys would have to get there. We'd actually have to convene a meeting at the site and publish it in the paper that you guys are going to be on his property. And anybody in the public is welcome to come to the property and hear you guys talk.
The video,
It's visual and it's important and it affects people's lives. It affects his life.
I think,
It's important.
I think the important thing is the line of sight. A lot of this homes were built before all of this became an issue. And a lot of these homes are built where they are violating that 75 foot. So to put it, I'm going to give you an example. I don't want to drag this out, but when I built my house, I went back 75 feet. I was 20 feet back from the house next door to me. The county came out, this has been 19 years ago. The county came out and we had to stop footing construction and move the house forward so the line of sight would agree. So you don't have two houses out here, one back here. And they wanted to keep Lake Shore uniform. And this is probably what they're looking for here. You can't throw this thing back 75 feet and the guy next door on both sides is only 45 feet. So if Dustin can get a video and give us a line of sight as to what's there, it would be much more easy for us to make a decision. And I would like you to rescind your motion, and I'd like to make a motion that we table this till we are able to view the video and make a determination as to the setback from the water line. The town has already approved the setback from the road. That's not an issue.
I would like to have in your motion, if you don't mind, that he reconsider his request for the setback and go to requesting the minimum and being part of that.
First of all, I'm gonna ask a question. There's an existing house there.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it set back from the water now?
It's way back in the corner.
Is it?
50,
See that little square? That's the house that's there.
this is the existing house that's there. It's 56 feet to the ordinary high water mark.
Okay, and you're asking, and what you're saying is you want to be even further back.
Well, that's the existing house.
That's right.
Not from the existing, no.
No, but the existing house is only 56 from the water mark.
What I'm saying is that you ask for something and if you sit down and you think about it a while, maybe you can take a little less and still be happy with it. That's my-
Yes.
Well, actually moving it back about 10 feet.
Pardon?
We're moving it back about 10 feet.
If you go by what he
Something
wants.
like that.
Correct.
No,
I think part of the issue too is when they moved this around was where they had to put the well and septic, and that made them push the site for the cabin around on the lot also. I know we had to go and in the survey, they had to go on the neighbors and plot on there where their wells and septics were. And then they moved everything around on our lot a little bit to make sure we could get our well in that was away from their septics. So I think that was part of the other issue with this lot.
You can see my screen, correct?
Yes.
What is the square footage of the proposed construction?
Is it 944 on that
Yeah.
floor?
Yeah, 944 for the house and then 953 for the garage.
Yeah, I
Okay,
believe that's right.
it's on the one drawing, well, this drawing anyway.
My point was you're not building an enormous structure that can be shrunk down. You're just about basic square footage for living area.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is. It's not a big house. No, we don't want that. We just want a cottage.
It's like a small double wide, that's all it is.
Pardon?
It's like a small double wide, that's all it is.
Yeah, it's a tiny lot and we want to work with you.
The other question I did have is on that drawing, so there's that gray shaded area that says proposed 13 by 11 patio.
Yep.
There's a outline of maybe a wall that runs in front of it. And that's where it shows the 45-foot setback to. What is that? Is that a retaining wall?
That's a good question. Larry, have you gotten back on yet? I think it must be. I know when they were looking at the it must be part of the retaining wall, that natural vegetation retaining wall system underneath. And then I know in front of the patio doors down below, it was going to be impervious surfaces. So we didn't have any issues. We don't want any issues with water runoff either going into the lake.
So the question I have, based on this drawing, how far will the actual house be from the ordinary high water mark?
I believe that would be the white shaded area. Or
Right,
the white
unfortunately,
area, not the shade.
I mean, it does say proposed 13 by 11. So if you take that as 11, that puts the house at a 56-foot setback, which is then the same as what the
What it
existing
currently
house.
is, yeah. I mean, in my head, that would make sense, yes.
So really the 45-foot setback would just be for what we think is a retaining wall.
Yep, and the deck,
Correct.
yep.
I think might want some clarification on that.
That small triangle you're looking at, Dustin?
Yeah, what is that?
That's what that dashed triangle is what I said is the only building envelope on that property.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, that shaded area, and then there's that,
This?
yes.
Those are retaining walls.
That would be next to the door. That would be next to the patio door. So whatever that system is that's in one of the emails that you had mentioned is what'll be there.
Those are those Envirolock bags.
Envirolock bags, yeah.
On your at-grade patio, the water from there goes where?
The water from on the back of the house.
On the back of the house, yeah.
Yep. Well, if those Envirolock bags work like they say, it should be absorbed right down through. And there'll be, from my understanding, there'll be plants in those bags and everything. So there'll be vegetation in those Envirolock bags also.
So you walk off the patio and into riprap or something.
I think he's specifically talking about the actual 13 by 11 solid
Yeah.
patio, where does that water run off to?
That would go right underneath to the impervious surface below.
Pervious surface.
The pervious surface, correct.
So it'd be concrete pavers that absorb water. There
Right.
is a system that
You
does that.
can lay pavers down and have a substrate that accepts water.
Well, it's not just the substrate, it's the actual concrete paver.
Right.
Has holes in it. I mean, it's- They're expensive and you can pour a cup of water right on it and it soaks right into the brick.
You could dump a 5-gallon pail on them and it goes right down through. They're pretty neat. So it's not a chunk of cement at all. It's I know there's a few that are approved for pervious surfaces, from what I've seen. And not only that, there's, I believe, 18 inches below it of different size wash rock.
Kind of like a drain field then, right?
You would never know you're driving on
Yeah.
anything different than,
There's a commercial building right here in town that doesn't have a drain system. They put papers there with some kind of a substrate.
And
And
there-
I said, that's great, you know, water just goes right in
Yeah.
the substrate.
There you go.
I mean, those are examples of it. But you can walk up to that and pour a 5-gallon bucket of water on it. It doesn't just go in the cracks, it goes through the concrete.
Yep.
Well, there's some.
Consider rain, for instance. A bait not only carries with it oil, consider a better way to manage stormwater runoff. Permeable interlocking concrete pavement has proven to reduce or eliminate retention.
Small
I was
scale,
hoping at some point it would actually show you an example of it.
Reduce demand for that drainage.
important low impact.
Of installations nationwide. Holding stormwater isn't just up to all of us. It's up to-
In between the pavers too, it's not sand. It's actually a chipped granite that they put in there. So over time, it doesn't get silted up and stop the water flow either.
Okay. So there is a motion though. To get a video, to reconsider the plans, and I would suggest adding in there to more clearly identify how far the house will be. Yeah, because this one doesn't show it either.
That's your motion.
That's kind of a combination of both years, but.
Yeah. The same as, your site thing where the others are.
Right, you're gonna get a line of sight.
Which would be part of the video.
Make the video.
Okay.
He's gonna do a line of sight video to let us, so we understand what the houses in the surrounding area, what their offsets are. So we have a motion to table this till we get the video from Dustin, rather than go through the hassle of a meeting and posting and everything else.
Will that show the actual setback then, Dusty,
For the house, like I was just
for the
discussing,
for the line of sight, that'll cover the setback from the water?
I believe Larry, I wish he was still on the line.
Actually, Larry's calling me right now. Hello?
Okay,
Hi.
he has the information, I believe, on how close the neighbors' houses are.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Because he did that as part of the site
Oh,
plan.
okay.
him and I had
Justin?
discussed that. Yep.
Justin, can you unmute, or Dustin, I'm sorry, can you unmute Larry? He's in the room.
Who am I unmuting? Oh, he has his hand raised.
Okay, I'll hang up, Larry. Thanks.
It doesn't show that he's muted. Oh, hold on. Larry, are you there?
We're looking at him, but he's not talking.
No, that's the owner.
Oh, okay.
Somebody just joined with a 715 phone number.
Can you unmute that one, Dustin, or?
Well, all I can do is ask to unmute.
Oh, okay.
Larry, are you if you're 715-424 and then some numbers, to unmute, you hit *6.
Dustin, I'll see if I can call him and hook him in through my system here. Larry?
Yeah.
I'll put you on my speaker. Can you hear Dustin now? Larry, do you want to say something?
Well, I want to apologize to everybody. Apparently, when I was talking before on my cell phone, it kicked me out of the meeting, and I've been trying to get back in, but somebody needed to let me in. So finally realized maybe I could call Andy and he could pass the message on.
All right, the chairman does have something he wanted to say.
If or when you do the video, do you want to convene another meeting and get this either approved or denied so we don't hold up the construction forever if it's approved?
We don't generally do special meetings. It would just be on the next month's agenda.
Well, I'm saying for,
When was the plan to start construction?
It was November.
I was just saying that to expedite the board's decision.
When would our next meeting be? November 1? It's a Monday?
November 1st, is that what it is?
I believe so.
Well, if we don't have a meeting now, it can get voted on. I don't understand that.
No, he's saying have one quicker. Before November 1st. The problem is
If Dustin was to make the video this week, the possibility of, if it was acceptable, to have a meeting the following Monday and.
I have to publish it for 2.
Pardon?
It takes me 3 weeks to publish it because it's a public
Oh,
hearing.
it is true, okay.
I mean, it's 2 weeks of publication, but I also have to have it in to the paper ahead of time.
What about an emergency meeting? Do they allow?
For a public hearing, I can't do that.
Well, if he wants to start in November and our meetings are November 1,
I'm okay with that.
We are, the construction company might not be.
There's gotta be some hardship under a construction operation. It always happens.
So Larry, if you can hear me, I'm still curious about that question. There is a motion on the table, but do you have the setbacks for the neighboring properties?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what the chairman's question was, Dustin.
Do you have the setbacks for the neighboring properties?
Yes, I do. It's on, they are on sheet 1 of the full detailed plans, and let me just check to see if they're on the simplified plans. Or is the question
Oh, yeah, here they are.
regarding street setback or water setbacks or both?
Water setback.
Okay, the
Water
water
setback.
setback on the home to the south is 57.5 feet. On the home to the north, it's 65.97. So if you do the setback averaging, that comes up to be 56.29 on the Petenwell cabin property.
What's the 62-foot setback line that you drew in there? What's that for then? Or how did you pick 62?
Where are you, which plan are you seeing the 62, Dustin?
All of them on that dash triangle.
Oh, on the dash triangle. I have a feeling that's mislabeled, Dustin. I didn't notice that. Let me just scale that. That should be 75-foot setback. No, it is drawn in at 62. I'm wondering, is 62 the existing setback on the home?
Not according to the drawing, that showed 56.
Yep, 56.29. Boy.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, there's a motion and a second on the table. I think a lot more information needs to be given.
Yes. If you do a line across here, they're still in, I don't know the exact scale of this is, but they're out past the other two houses. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor.
And there's not a second yet.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Is there any other comment before we take a vote? All right, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carried.
All right. So, so you guys all know this will be on the November 1st agenda.
Okay.
At that time, you'll need to take the public input, because we didn't do that during this meeting. I'll be out to the property, take a video of it, that we'll share at the meeting, or yeah, I guess that'd be the best way to do it. And then also, we need more detailed information as far as those questions I was asking. How far will the actual house be from the water? What those dash lines are? We're assuming retaining wall.
Hey, that's a more explicit drawing. What they're trying to pack too much information into that small drawing.
Yeah, that's an engineer's drawing. We need a layman's drawing.
Yeah.
Simply read.
Yeah, and then I think the other part, wasn't specifically in the motion, but we might as well do it, is elevations that you can read, showing, how much is being excavated out. Do you gentlemen have any question on that?
Nope, I think I got it all.
All right, and if you guys do have any questions, certainly give me a call.
Yeah, Dustin, this is Larry. I think most of the information that you want is on there. Just need to get it in a format that's easier to read, I guess. Yeah, I'm kind of baffled where that 62 came from. It should have been the 75, which would make that triangle disappear. So I'm not sure where that came from.
And I guess I would address that also. And I have decent eyesight and I can't read most of it.
Would it be helpful if I sent the full size? These were meant to be plotted on 22 by 34 paper. And should I send enough copies of the 22 by 34 that you can distribute to the Board of Adjustment?
Is it very easily readable?
It's very readable at the scale that it's meant to be viewed at.
We can,
What, are you looking at them on 8.5 by 11?
yep,
Yep, because they'd be impossible to read on 8.5 by 11. 11 by 17 is still small.
yep. So if you brought in the bigger copies, that would be great. I can distribute those to the board, but also make sure that you show,
Highlight the setbacks.
yeah, highlight the requested setbacks, including all the way to the house, not just that retaining wall, because the board kind of differentiates on that.
Okay,
Or 10.
right, the 45-foot setback does go to a deck. That is a deck,
Okay.
and that deck is
Well, right now, don't worry about it too much. I'm telling you what you need to bring to November 1st.
yep, okay, and we can go over that in more detail, Dustin.
Yep. And then the other part, and I think we had talked about once before, is showing both the new or the proposed and the existing on the same drawing. Overlaid.
In a legible.
Okay.
format.
In a legible format.
Yep, like those simplified drawings.
Yep. That way they can see how big of a difference it's going to be. I guess
Yep.
best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Chairman, it's all you now.
Excuse me, I don't know if you can hear me, Dustin.
Yes.
Is there a public hearing today or not? Because there is, I think, some requests for input. So if that's going to be delayed till next month, we'd like to know that.
The board just tabled the application to next month. On November 1st, it'll be reopened, and then we'll continue to hear, or the discussion, and that will include the public input part.
Okay, and if we want to have some input between now and then, should that be directed to you or to the chairman, or?
You can contact me, but really it's the board that needs to hear it at the meeting.
Okay,
You
well, we
can't discuss
understood there was,
the board outside of the meeting.
right. Okay,
Unless you got beer. Unless you bring beer.
All right, so we're down to closing the public hearings for the day.
We'll close the public hearing. Any correspondence?
Nope,
Next meeting date, 1st November?
I guess we just decided November 1st.
All right. I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I so move.
Second,
Second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for your time.
All right.